How long can you continue to code? My tech lead asked me this question in 2019, and I've been thinking about that question since. In between the large waves of layoffs and also AI coming to take our jobs, I think as software developers, it's time to think about how to diversify our income, and we can explore that in this video. Become a technical writer. As a software developer, we often search for answers on the internet when we're stuck. I owe my success to countless heroes on Stack Overflow. I wanted to give back to the community by sharing what I know on the internet. Here is how you can make money as a technical writer. Write on existing platforms like Medium. Unless you're already good at SEO, writing on your own blog, on your own website will take a lot of time for Google to pick up your work and for people to find out your article. The second reason why you should write on Medium is because it already has an existing audience, and a lot of people who are into tech or they're technical, they're also reading on Medium. So I haven't read a thing in 3 years on Medium, but I'm still getting new followers every day. So if you're one of the approved countries that can apply for the partner program, you can potentially earn while writing on Medium. Unfortunately, I don't live in one of them, so I cannot make money from Medium, but it's a great place for me to get my name out there. Writing on Medium can lead to other things. Whenever you write on Medium, people view you as authority in the subject that you write, so people will reach out to you when they need help on something. If you do plan to write on Medium, make sure that you search for any publication on Medium that are already publishing articles about your subject. When I was writing, I wrote for a publication called Better Programming. They already have an enormous following, so whenever I write something, they would publish my article, and people who are interested in programming can naturally get my article and read them. Also, another tip that I learned when I was writing article on Medium is that if you want to do this for the long term, you want to gather emails. And the way you do that is that you give away some kind of freebie, something that people can gain value right away with the exchange of their email. They will join your newsletter while gaining something in return. Because nowadays people don't join newsletters just for the fun of it, because people's email inbox is already full of spam. Another way that you can make money is to become a freelancer. This is a very obvious one where you exchange your time for money. I know it is tempting to sign up to those online freelancer platforms because you barely have to speak to anyone or meet anyone. Being a software developer in Asia, I have tried many platforms, and some platforms they will force you to take lower pay because you're based in Asia, which never makes sense to me because the job is all remote and you're doing the same thing. It doesn't really matter if you're based in Asia or somewhere else, Here's my recommendation for finding freelance work. First, do a good job at your current job. My first freelance gig came from my first full-time job as a software developer. My employer for my first freelance gig was one of the partners from my first company, and he saw my work firsthand, so he knew that I could do the job he wanted to do, and he asked me to build a website, and that's what I did. And you can always pull people you know, for example, colleagues that from other jobs who are complementing your skills. For example, designers or maybe project managers or even other engineers, but just focus on different platforms. For example, maybe you're a full stack developer, but mainly focus on websites, and you can find someone who builds mobile app. Then you can build a complete solution for a client. Attend physical meetup. People still trust people who they have met at least once. I know being an introvert, I would rather just hide in my room and code all day and not have to talk to anybody. but freelance is still a business. And the way you get business is that you meet more people and then you know about their problem and you try to solve their problems. Also, freelancing is kind of like a baby step to running a business because you are selling a product, but except it's yourself is the product. So you try to sell yourself to the client that you will do a good job for them. Most importantly, don't get scammed. If you plan to get paid, always have a contract. And if you plan to do a favor for a friend, make sure that you're upfront about the costs. Because if you are hosting on your own cloud provider, maybe those cloud provider will charge you money and you still need to cover those costs. So you don't do free work, they end up losing money too. Teaching can be an extension of writing. So whenever you start establishing yourself as an authority in a particular subject, you can always teach other people and then charge them for your knowledge. When I was writing about WeChat mini program, because now a lot of people knew English and also coding who are interested in WeChat mini program, whenever there are people outside of China trying to learn about WeChat mini program, it's always really hard for them to learn because the documentation is always changing. The English documentation is always slow to keep up with the changes. Whenever I wrote on Medium, I noticed that there are a lot of people who are interested in learning WeChat mini program. And I got the idea of creating an online course for those people. And I realized it was kind of boring to do it alone. So I invited a friend, his name is George, and he was also an authority in WeChat mini program because in those WeChat mini program WeChat groups, he often answers questions and help other people with their questions. So I knew he was a really helpful person. So I contacted him and then we met up and then we talked about the course idea. Of course, we dream about making millions, but that didn't happen. But it was really fun to work with him. And also we actually created an online course and made a few sales and actually helped a few people as well. And a funny story is that whenever I work as a freelancer on a particular project, it was a big organization and then they brought in an overseas project manager. When she flew into China, we met and she heard my name. I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, my name is David." And then he asked me if I made a online course before. And then I said I did. And then she said, "Oh, wow, I actually bought your course right before I boarded the plane." And she started calling me the WeChat guy because apparently that's what I'm known for. So it's actually very fulfilling to teach people online. And other opportunity that comes up will be something like coding bootcamp. Coding bootcamp might not be as popular now because people think AI is going to replace all the software developer and people are questioning why they're learning how to code right now. I think there will be a similar bootcamps, but you would just focus on teaching people different skills like how to use AI. So the coding bootcamp that I worked for was called Le Wagon, but it's a French organization that expanded to China. A lot of subject that they teach was directly related to China Pacific tech stack. For example, WeChat mini program. So George was one of the speakers they invited often. So for one of the batch, he was too busy to do. So he asked me to fill in. Although I was very nervous in the first session, it got smoother and smoother because I started to enjoy it and think about the material or the things that I wanted to show to the students. And it was very fulfilling to me to see that people gain a very practical skill that they can take anywhere whenever they leave the classroom. Lastly is coaching or mentoring. So this is directly helping one person, but I did charge hourly for my service. So coaching is kind of difficult to think about the pricing because probably it's your first time doing it. But I generally just think about what I charge hourly. If I was coding, then I probably give some kind of discounts to that person because I'm not actually coding, and then it's not the same skill. Teaching someone is actually very different from just writing code. But it's a good sign they are willing to invest in themselves and then try to improve on themselves. Tech consulting. Tech consulting happened to me by accident. Like I mentioned before, I built a following writing article about WeChat mini program. And one of the company's CEO saw my article and then he reached out to me, and then we decided that we want to work together. If you decide to pursue this path more aggressively, you can establish yourself as an agency and do proper marketing. Building SaaS is a dream that I'm actively pursuing at the moment, but I'm not a successful SaaS founder yet because I'm not profitable. I've built many projects and a lot of them never see daylight. I've watched countless hours of videos and read books and articles about SaaS and what's the best things to do when you're building SaaS. And after a year, I started to get a hang of it. Now I have built 2 Shopify apps and 1 standalone web app with AI. All of them are steadily growing in user count. Here's some advice that I wish I knew earlier. Number 1, take yourself seriously. In the early days, I'm afraid to fail publicly. So I will half-ass my effort and then build a half-baked product, post once about it, and then forget about it. I realize this is an internal struggle that I have, although that I'm never too attached to a project, but I also didn't give my project a fair shot of success. For others to believe in your ideas, you first have to believe in it. If you find yourself not believing in your ideas that much, then it's probably not the right idea to work on. You don't need an idea, you need a problem. Whenever we see success stories, you often talk about the ideas. And it always seems so genius, and then you knock yourself in the head like, why didn't I think of that? But we are all waiting for the right idea to start, but that also gives us the excuse to not start. So it's better to focus on the problem first that you want to solve. You can either find the problem within your personal hobbies. For me, my personal hobbies are investing and also basketball. These 2 hobbies has no connection whatsoever, and also it's very hard to market in the investing space because the trust is already destroyed in that market. I once built a project that gives you stock analysis when you put in the stock symbol. I put up a Facebook ads. Once when the ad goes live, in an hour I got comments saying this is a scam. So maybe in the future I will still go back to my hobby and try to build something for my hobby. But right now I'm trying to find problems that I have and also other people have as well. The way you can do that is that you find a review site like G2 or Trustpilot. And depending on what kind of platform you're building for, you can find reviews for them as well. So the way you do is that you find your competitor and you find the negative reviews about them, and then you see what you can do better, and then you try to do those things. Number 3, build for existing platforms. As mentioned earlier, I build Shopify apps, and Shopify already has a marketplace where it markets your app for you. The hard work comes from finding the right problems to solve. And there are many Shopify related groups. Any kind of groups you can think of, you try to go into the groups and then learn about those people. And if you can try to offer them some value, maybe some free information or tips that you already know. And if you want to go to a more direct route, you can also go on to Shopify apps marketplace and look for the Shopify apps sector that you want to build in. And you will find apps perhaps underserving their customers because they have some negative reviews. or maybe you see them not doing as good of the job, then you can try to build a better version of that Shopify app. So usually you win by caring more about the problem than your competitor. There are also other places with marketplace where you can build apps in. I plan to explore as many marketplaces as possible, so be sure you subscribe to see that happen. Starting an e-commerce business. Because I started building Shopify apps, I started a Shopify store so I can better understand the merchant's mindset. And then if I go through the process of creating a Shopify store, I think I would understand what kind of problem they run into on a daily basis. I'm not your e-commerce guru, so I don't have a lot of advice on starting an e-commerce store. There are plenty of resources online where you can find about maybe drop shipping or starting an actual brand or wholesaling. So the way I try to do it is that I try to start with small experiment so that I don't sink a lot of capital into the e-commerce business in the beginning, so I can iterate and then learn more and improve over time. Starting a physical store. So obviously this one involves a lot of upfront capitals, but you can always find a partner where you trust in and then open a store together. For me, I opened a coffee shop back in 2016. I will probably never try to do that again because the coffee business or the restaurant business is extremely demanding and the profit margin is very low. So if I was ever trying to do it again, I would try to start a franchise or maybe join a franchise where you don't have to think too much about the day-to-day stuff, and then so you can have enough profit margin to hire people. When I opened a coffee shop, a lot of my time was sunk into the coffee shop management itself. I was there making coffee, making the food, serving people, taking orders, managed 2 other part-time employees. If you have some kind of passion that you think you must follow through, this could be an option as well. Creating a coloring book on KDP. KDP is Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing for anyone to publish their own books. For me, I wanted to see if I could create a book with AI. And during the time when I had the idea, my wife was not having a good time being first month pregnant. She was having a lot of morning sickness, so I was trying to help her get her mind off of the discomfort. So I decided to use AI to create a coloring book. It turns out I could upload that coloring book to KDP, where people can order on Amazon, where Amazon would do the printing and the distributing for me. It was very low cost. I did everything on ChatGPT. And in the end, the result was actually not that bad. But if I was really serious about building an empire from KDP, I would really do more research on what kind of books sells and what kind of topics that are popular on Amazon, and do more keyword research beforehand before I start creating the book. Starting a YouTube channel. So I haven't published any video for a few years. In the past, I would spend a lot of time creating a video, and then afterwards I would just feel really burnt out and then lose interest of creating a video. So now I'm trying to make my process of creating a YouTube video as seamless as possible. So whenever I create YouTube video, I will think about fun, and helping people. So when I started my YouTube channel, it was purely because I thought about making money with YouTube video. But that wasn't very good motivation for me. It turns out that for me, it's more motivating to help another person out, and then knowing that my work can help other people out, I think that just makes me want to do more and create more. That's very exciting to think about. Maybe one day, because I'm not around in the world, but I can still help other people. Learn investing. Learning about investing has changed my life a lot. If I didn't know about investing, I would probably live in anxiety all the time and worry about not being able to provide for my family or provide for myself. But because I have a foundation of how to save money and also how to manage my money, I am able to live a life where I'm not worried or not too worried about money, and also give me the opportunity to pursue what I want to do. Thank you all for watching. If you made it to the end, please leave a comment or a like. And some platforms they will force you to take lower play. So go out there and show them your goods. You can also go on to Shopify Market apps. First, when you save money,
I found this on the web for does some during your tips about managing money in general.